relationships can stretch us emotionally in ways that we cannot even think about. Where? Hello, my name is Lucy Macridis, and I am voiced by Lucy, your go-to voice for impactful storytelling and dynamic delivery. Hi, my name is Lucy, your clarity coach, and this is Tuesday Talks at 3. Welcome to the Bounce Back, Rise Higher series, where we're giving you tips into a toolbox that you can be able to pick in different aspects of your life. And as we're talking about resilience in relationships in this episode, think about conflict in every relationship that you have. Whether it's relationship with self, because you can have conflict, internal conflict, relationship with a loved one, relationship with your career, relationship in your spiritual world, relationship with your peers. Think about relationship in your workplace. Whatever it is, this episode is about resilience in relationships, episode 3 of the Bounce Back, Rise Higher series. And the question that we are seeking to answer today is, how do you stay grounded amid relational, shall I say, conflict or tension? That's the question we are seeking to answer. Well, the easy answer is just find peace, look for a corner, sit there alone. That's an easy answer. But the reality is, as human beings, we are born to be together in a community. We are not born to be alone. I mean, the population of the world should tell us that. We've got units, whether they are family units, we've got work units, we've got spiritual units, we've got fitness units. You'll always find that we come from a setting, from a group, whether it's like-minded people, whether it's people that we have chosen in our village to be able to bring different strengths. Really, at the end of the day, we are not born to be alone. So then, what is the one thing that would help us then? Because conflict will happen. For as long as you are in a group, there will be a difference in opinion. There will be those of us who do not want to back down. There are those of us who just don't want to contribute. There are those of us who are going along with anything because we are people pleasers. Whichever bit you belong to is real for you. But the fact remains that when we look at relationships, we need to look at them from a point of resilience or building of strength. Now, if we are building our strength in relationships, we have to understand the one true thing that's going to keep a relationship going, and that's communication. So how do you communicate would be a question that I ask you. How do you communicate with one another? In fact, if you want to go deeper into this, you want to go through my different recordings, and there's one that I have on conflict and communication. I remember I was wearing something orange. You want to look out for that recording. It has amazing tips so that you can be able to know, how then do I communicate in conflict? When you're communicating in conflict, it means you're not alone. There's somebody else. There's a reason why there's conflict. Even if I have meetings on my own, and I like to say my meetings are with me, myself, and I. You see, we are 3 people in this board of mine. And at times I'm in conflict with my own thoughts. Because there's that thought, there's what my heart desires, and it's what other people are telling me that I'm taking in. And it's becoming a reality for me, that identity. So why is communication essential during this kind of conflict, whether with self or anybody else outside yourself? Because it can either heal or destroy. Communication can either heal or destroy. So think about the latest difficult conversation. Maybe you've just been having one and you decided to take 5 and listen to Lucy, your clarity coach. Well, that is one way of doing it. You have communicated that you have no bandwidth for this conflict, and therefore you're choosing something else that kind of calms you or distracts you maybe. But how long will that last? Is that sustainable? Remember, our Bounce Back and Rise Higher series is about a toolbox that you can be able to keep stuff in there that you can pull out when you need. So in this case, we know that words can either heal or they can destroy. And when they're destroying, it's deepening wounds that are already there. It's like you're going in and you're adding salt, you're seasoning, you're adding things that are just making it even worse. Choosing to understand is a key way of communication. Choosing to be able to hear what the other person is saying and where they're coming from. These are the things that communication helps, and it shifts the conflict. If all of us are speaking at the same time in the depth of conflict, we're not communicating. This is a lot of noise. But if one person speaks at a time, and when I have my program of Lady in Waiting, one of the sessions is about how to carry on healthy conversations. So one person speaks while you are portraying listening skills, you're nodding, you're humming away, you're leaning in. And when they are done, it's not that you have been waiting for them to finish so you could say something. You're actually internalizing so that you can respond. And when you respond, you speak something that is relevant to what is going on. You're communicating. And in return, they do the same thing. From their body language, you can see that they're internalizing. And this, I take young teenage girls through so they can have healthy conversations. Communication is key when it comes to relationships. So it doesn't matter who's on the other end, even if it's you yourself. If you're talking to yourself, that internal dialogue that you have, the way you communicate, especially during conflict, is key. Well, I guess the best thing is to learn how to communicate so you don't get into conflict. But then that is presumptuous, that life was just very linear, that we're not going to have the ups and downs. Conflict is important because it allows you to see somebody else's perspective. Remember, in the last episode, I talked about humility. I talked about patience. This is when you can practice it. So identify one communication shift that can preserve your peace and the peace of others. Identify it and put it into that box. This is the toolbox that we are building on the Bouncing Back and Rising Higher series. Now, how then do you stay emotionally grounded is what somebody has asked me before. And they just said, Coach, how do you handle relational pressure? And this is the question I was asked during a session. Of course, during a coaching session, it's not about me and it's not me giving answers. I actually reflected it back to her and asked, how about you? What would you do in relational pressure? And she began to answer. She began to answer from a point of what she would not do. And I was like, nah, wrong answer. That's not where we should be going. We need to focus on the positive outcomes of a relation. So what is it that I can do to release or to ease the pressure in a relationship? I have control over self. So where she was now pointing out the third party, I invited her to come in and have an internal dialogue with herself. How can she handle relational pressure amidst a crowd of people, peer pressure, wherever it is that she's presenting herself? And the end of this conversation, I beg your pardon, was about emotional intelligence. So being able to stay emotionally aware of your presence. How are you responding? Not how are you reacting? Because reacting is fueling the conflict. But responding is saying, I hear you. I see you. I want to know more. I want to understand. Now, this is the patience. This is the humility. This is the persistence in seeking to understand this other individual. That just means that you've taken time to process your emotions before and you've put it into this toolbox. I hope I am speaking to you. The question then, how do you stay grounded amid relational tension? It begins with you being emotionally aware. That steadiness is very key. Let us help build one another. And until episode 4, be kind to yourself